Hello everyone! Magandang buhay sa ating lahat. Lalo na sa Usapang Pantahanan, it's your first year anniversary. Salamat!
Hello everyone! Welcome again to our Usapan ng Tahanan. At sa araw na ito, ang ating pag-uusapan naman ay tungkol sa pagdidesign ng bahay, pagpili o paggamit ng iba't ibang mga prints and patterns to make our house beautiful. At syempre, sa tulong ni Teacher Daryl, na ipapakilala mamaya ni Mami Fem, tuturuan niya tayo kung paano natin mapapaganda ang ating mga bahay. Kaya lahat po kayo ay maupo, makinig, at welcome kayong lahat sa aming Usapang Pantahanan, lahat ng aming fans. Magandang araw sa inyong lahat. At Mami Fem, magandang araw sa iyo.
Magandang araw sa iyo, Mami Narlene, and syempre sa ating lahat ng nakikinig sa araw na ito. Isang magandang araw po sa inyong lahat and welcome to our home improvement series number 3, which is to enhance or how to enhance your home space with prints and patterns. Ayan, Mami, at of course, inaanyayahan namin kayo to like, share, subscribe to our channel. Pa po kayo na
yes po.
Right. And ang mga kasama natin ngayon ay ang ating resident interior designer na walang iba kundi si Teacher Daryl. Si Teacher Daryl po ay taga Tacloban City at siya po ay kasalukuyang nagtuturo sa Eastern Visayas State University since 2017 as an interior designer, yan, under the College of Architecture and Allied Discipline. At syempre, no, siya po ay nagtapos ng 2 kurso, Mami.
Oo nga.
Ang una niyang course is BS Hotel and Restaurant Management sa Leyte Normal University, and then BS Interior Design sa Eastern Visayas State University in 2017. At siya po ay kasalukuyang Vice President ng Philippine Institute of Interior Designers sa Eastern Visayas Chapter. And siya po ay, of course, associate member ng Patesco Incorporated. At isa po siyang freelance licensed interior designer. Ayan. Yun nga, napaka-blessed natin, Mami Narlene.
Oo.
Ay excited na sa kanyang lecture. Parang nga tayong nasa classroom, Mami, pagka si Teacher Daryl na yung nagdi-discuss, and hope na marami po tayong matutunan tungkol dito po sa topic natin today. Okay? So, enjoy watching!
Good day, mommies. I am interior designer Daryl Monghe, and today we are going to talk about mixing and matching patterns. So, as an interior designer, I can say that color is a big part in creating beautifully executed spaces. But color alone is sometimes not enough, so because it tends to get boring and monotonous. So, in our profession, we do utilize the mixing and matching of different prints and patterns to create visually interesting interiors. A good thing is that you can also do this at home, in your own decoration, in your own space. So, let's start. So, before we discuss the tips and the different effects of mixing and matching color patterns, we will first look at or refresh our memories with the common prints and patterns that we often see around us. So, we have here houndstooth, paisley patterns, trellises, quatrefoils, chevron, imbrication patterns, fleur-de-lis, polka dots, chinoiserie, swalijui, animal prints, ikats, herringbone, ginghams, and stripes. I'm sure most of these patterns you already know by name, and some of them you have already seen or you are visually familiar with. So that is us, widening our design or decoration vocabulary. So next time, maybe when we go shopping, we can tend to identify these prints and patterns already. We don't have to keep on guessing. So, okay. So let's discuss on the effects of patterns. So patterns in a space can add visual interest. Mixing patterns adds more variety to our room. With some rules applied to make our life or our decisions easier, we can use a multicolored main print and place it with a textured pattern as well as a lattice pattern or stripe. It is also wise to keep the smaller scaled prints in the same color family so they will act as a backdrop to your feature design. Remember that variety is the spice of life and certainly applies to patterns. So patterns do apply a certain spice or a certain visual interest to a space. It makes a space less boring. So as you can see in the picture, in our right, we have here the pillow guide. So pillows is actually a very easy way to update our space, to add color, to add interest, to add character to our space. So we can practice before we practice with large prints and patterns. We can practice first with pillows. So when I say prints and patterns, I am not only referring to those flat fabrics. Prints and patterns can be found in a variety of materials. We can find them in, for example, feathers, in fabrics with sequences, with beads, or with those thick crocheted fabrics. So that is what we call textured fabrics. They also have their own patterns. You can have them in animal skins, animal furs, or tribal patterns. So there are really a lot of options when it comes to our sources of prints and patterns. And later on, we are going to discuss on how we are going to use them, right? Because it can be very confusing. So, a lot of them. So next is that pattern can add a dimension to a space. Stripes can be very dramatic, and when used vertically in a room, they can create height. But when stripes are hung or painted horizontally, it can make a room feel wider visually. So if you're nervous about adding pattern into a room, start with pattern pillows. They are not a big investment, and yet they can instantly add drama to a boring setting area or bed. So patterns can add dimensions, or they can visually alter the architecture of a space. So for example, your house or a room in your house has a very tall ceiling and it makes you very uncomfortable, and that space makes you uncomfortable. You can visually make it feel lower by adding a horizontal stripe. Or in vice versa naman, if you have a very short ceilinged room, you can make it look and feel like it is larger by adding vertical stripes. So see, that is a cheaper way than reconstructing an entire room. The next effect is that you can use pattern as a focal point. When we say focal point, it is the center of interest. It is the something that draws our eyes directly into that object. So the bedrooms is one of the easiest rooms to add pattern. Prints should be balanced, and often mixing a floral with a stripe or a texture or a spotted fabric can produce a variety of looks. Place a bold pattern on a headboard and the bed frame becomes the main focal point in the room. So for example, in a bedroom that is beige in color, of course the bed would be the centerpiece. So we want the eyes to be directed directly to the bed. So we can add patterns. For example, in this picture, our beds are upholstered with floral fabrics, with beautiful floral fabrics, and also printed pillows to accentuate it. So that really makes it more homey, that makes it more visually interesting. Also, prints, this is very important. Prints or patterns can hide imperfections. We can use pattern to hide and disguise walls that aren't perfectly finished. To hide imperfections, we can cover walls with grass cloths, wallpapers, fabrics, tapestries, and pieces of art. Photographs, paintings, and collectibles can also act as a pattern as they easily transform a boring hall or wall into an instant gallery. So prints can also be used to direct us from one room to another, similar to the visual effect created with the blue zebra fabric in the picture. Grass cloth is a natural product which is fabulous for hiding uneven walls because of its thickness and texture. So we can hide, for example, we have walls that are not really perfectly finished. We can use prints and patterns in wallpapers or in fabrics to physically hide them. At the same time, if not, we can use prints and fabrics to somehow distract or remove the attention from those walls to the patterned objects, because our eyes naturally they have a tendency to look at the boldest and busiest colors first. So when we apply that's natural instinct into our design. Typically, if we add prints and patterns, our eyes will naturally be diverted into it rather than the other flosses. So that is like distraction in a good way, or we become distracted in a good way. Okay, so next is pattern brings energy. Pattern has an energy simply because it is repetitive. When it is repeated over and over again along a wall, there is a certain energy and a sense of movement. The repetition takes you on a journey. So instead of putting a plain boring wall, you can add patterns to somehow tell a story or to visually capture interest of your guest or the viewers of the space. So tips in mixing and matching patterns. First is to start with the basics. So experts say that typically you should have at least 3 different patterns going on in one space. So 3 different kind of patterns. In a picture here in the left, that is the situation. We have 3 different patterns. We have for the wallpaper, we have a floral. For the pillows, we have diagonals and a small spotted yellow-green fabric for the pillows. So also, aside from 3 pieces, we have the so-called 60, 30, and 10 rule. So 60% of, like the majority of the fabric we are going to use is, in this picture, is the floral. So that's the 60%. The 30% is this diagonal, and the 10%, it will be your accent color. Okay, so by following the 60-30 rule, we can observe that it is a balanced interior. It is very peaceful looking and it is cohesive and it works well together. So 60-30 rule, you have 60% of the main fabric, 30% of a supporting fabric, and 10% of an accent fabric. Also, as you can observe, not only that it is not only 60-30 rule talks about the size or the number of times or the expanse of how you use it, but also the scale. So for the 60, you used a very large, bigger pattern. As you go to 30, it becomes medium size, and 10% you use a smaller detailed print. So there you can see the harmony in that formula. Okay, so 60, 30, 10. Okay, so also repeat colors in pattern. Repeating colors from pattern to pattern can help even desperate patterns seem like first cousins. Accentuate underplayed shared colors in patterns. If you use one pattern such as a stripe, repeat it somewhere else in the room. Even if the colors and scale change. So if you're going to, a good trick is to repeat the colors. So for example, we have different it is easy to get confused when we are using prints and patterns. So a good safe trick is to use the same color regardless of the type of pattern it is. If you use the same color, it will still look like it was well thought of and it was intentional, or it was planned. So stick to one color, or for the same color to different kinds of patterns, and you'll never go wrong with that. Next is play with pattern sizes. Select the largest pattern first to serve as a jumping off point from other patterns. Colors and accessories. Incorporate varying scales to the space so that the prints don't compete with one another. Sticking with the rule of 3, pick one large, one medium, and one small pattern to work with. So play with pattern sizes. So for example, in this picture in our right, we have here a wallpaper which has very big graphics. And we have here an accent color and a supporting color. So when we are mix and matching patterns, you have the 60-30 rule. At the same time, wag natin gamitin yung same scale silang lahat, yung 60-30 and 10. Kasi if we do that na para silang kalaki ng prints and patterns, we don't know anymore which is the lead. Hindi natin alam kung saan yung accent because they will all be competing for our attention. So the technique is 60-30-10, and also the scales as the fabric usage is getting smaller, the pattern is also getting smaller so that our eyes and our brains could process them easier. Tip number 4. Low-cost pattern update. By adding pillows, it is a low-cost way to explore your pattern personality. Also, you can copy colors from the most colorful pillows. So, for example, you have a pillow that has a lot of colors. So, you can, the rest of other colors, pwede mo nang makuha. And you don't know kung saan ka kukuha ng complement, hindi mo alam yung contrast, ganun. So, by checking your main or your lead fabric, yung colors na nandun mismo, maalalaman mo yung colors na babagay sa display mo or sa collection mo ng prints and patterns. So, dun ka kukuha ng color in your lead fabric. So, wala nang problem. Okay, so take a pattern break. So, don't forget the solids, especially in a room with bold color palette or strong features. Fabulous patterns shine brighter in a room where the eye has a place to rest, such as a neutral wall or a solid sofa. So take a pattern break. When we are doing fabrics, when we are doing prints and patterns, it is easy to go crazy. It is easy to get lost, not to observe na we are creating na pala a very eccentric looking collection of items. So parang we went crazy na, and the effect is something very unsettling, very busy. It doesn't give us peace of mind. It's very easy to get lost with, to have like something like that when we are dealing with patterns. So one good tip is that to take a pattern break. It means to take a pattern break like it's making art, making our patterns the art, and the canvas would be our neutral colors, or we can use white or our solid colors or plain colors. Para by using plain colors or by using neutrals, we can further enhance or improve or accentuate the use of our prints and patterns. Kasi we will make it shine more. Kasi just imagine a space if lahat ng lalagay mo patterned and printed, diba? So talagang magulo yun. So let's have a pattern break by using neutral colors and solid colors. Okay, so last tip is large patterns work best on large pieces, small patterns on small pieces. This is a common mistake even as professionals when we are new. When we find a fabric that is up close, when we are looking at it, it looks very good. Pero you need to consider kung saan mo siya gagamitin. For example, if it is a small polka dot fabric, small yung polka dots niya, it might not be good for a wallpaper or for an area na may malaking coverage, because if may install mo na siya, you will look at it ng malayo naturally, and also it will look at it at a wide area. It wouldn't have the same effect. So it is best when you are covering or using a large area, you also use a large pattern. And when you are using a fabric or a print or pattern for a small area, then use a smaller pattern na lang din. Okay? So, for the last part, we have patterns that go well together. So, this is your cheat sheet. These are the proven and tested proven and tested combinations of prints and patterns. So, we have your polka dots, your textures, and your graphics. So, when we say textures, these are fabrics or these are materials that are like woven. They have feathers. Those are the kinds of textured elements. So, graphics, this one in the middle, and polka dots. So also, this is my personal favorite. This is small polka dots, stripes, and florals. So this is probably the easiest to replicate. And let's go back lang kanina with what we have discussed. Typically, we have three kinds of fabrics, and the colors, they are similar with each other. Also, in sizes or in scale, they are different. So the reason that this works well is because, we have large stripes, we have medium-sized flowers, and we have very small polka dot details, binded by the same color or the same color scheme. So very pleasant looking. So next we have animal prints and textures. Tulle, textured, and stripes work together as well. And we have chevron, florals, and geometrics. And for a very elegant setup naman, we can use damask, florals, and stripes. Okay, so that is the end of my discussion for prints and patterns. I hope you did learn something, or you get familiarized and you are now aware of some basic rules on how to mix and match patterns and use them in beautifying your own homes. So good luck with that, and I'll see you in our next discussions. Thank you.
Maraming salamat sa iyo, Teacher Daryl. Talaga namang napabilib mo kami ni Mami Nerlin sa lahat ng mga naibahagi mo tungkol sa print patterns. Ang dami-dami ideas, Mami, na umaano sa isipan ko ngayon. Kung paano ko ba gagawin to sa bahay ko. Kasi, syempre, makita mo lang yung bahay ko ngayon, talagang work from home ang setup, no? Hindi mo malaman sa paano ba. Pero alam mo,
hayaan mo na.
For the meantime, no. Anyway, Mami, dahil na-inspire tayo ng sobra sa lecture ni Teacher Daryl, ay kami po ni Mami Nerlin ay may naisibahagi sa yung mga favorite namin, yung mga nakita namin sa internet na sa tingin ko makaka-relate kayo when you are designing on how to pair up with the prints and patterns sa bahay nyo, no? Tulad na lamang po ng aking sample number 1, no? Pala, Mami, na merong 4 different patterns in 3 different sizes. Ayan, kung makikita po nyo dyan sa ating pong example, yung wool rug, no? Ito po, actually itong pinapakita namin ngayon, ay hango po ito sa mga designers sa ibang bansa. Ito po nasa litrato natin ngayon, ito po ay dinesign ng company na Taylor & Taylor sa California, USA. At sabi po ng pinaka-author ng nag-design na ito daw pong wool na rug. Makikita nyo po dyan, no? Napakaganda nung rug na to, Mami Nerlin. Talaga nagbibigay ng buhay, no? At dun po
dapat wala kang dogs.
Yun lang. Oo. Ngayon, dun po sa rug na yan, meron yung tinatawag na free-flowing geometric shapes. Yan, kung makita po nyo dyan, merong mga diamond, no? Marami. Ngayon, sabi ng mga author, yung accent pillow, ito para ituturo ko yan, no? Ito daw pong accent pillow na to. Ito yung second largest pattern. Okay? So from the pattern sa wool rug, number 1, and then the second one, itong nandito sa accent pillow. Kaya siya accent pillow, Mami Narlene. Dahil siya yung kakaiba sa lahat ng pillow.
Yes.
At siya po ay may resemblance dun sa wool rug na ginamit ng author. And then, sabi nga po, yung repeating triangle and diamond design, yan, dun sa rug color and style, ayan, yan po ang nagkakaroon sila ng resemblance with the pillow. Ayan. And lastly, ito yung pangatlong pattern na sinasabi. Yung two smaller pattern pillows with designs, play, and supporting role. Ito mga to. Yan. Meron niyang pattern. Kaya lang, hindi siya yung mas louder, no? Parang kinukomplement niya yung louder pattern nitong isang pillow, yung pangalawa. Ayan. So, alam mo, Mami, the reason why I shared this, kasi kung titingnan mo visually, exciting siyang tingnan dahil ang dami-dami mong makikitang elements na nagko-complement. Hindi boring ang dating. Yan. So, yan ang isang pwede nating pagpilian, Mami. Darlene, how about you? Ano naman ang sample na sa tingin mo maganda rin, kumbaga, i-emulate?
Okay, yan. Yung akin naman ay yung black and white color scheme, diba? So, titignan mo, parang napaka-eleganting tingnan.
Yes.
Simple black and white, diba? The black and white is a classic color combination. The strong neutrals serve as a solid backdrop for many textures and decor styles. So makikita niyo, ang wall niya doon ay actually it's parang grayish.
Yes, grayish.
This may feel daunting, no? Yung parang medyo napaka-intimidating ang kulay na black and white kaya, Mami. But when layered or accessorized, it really works. Geometric patterns gives a small sitting area with a monochromatic color scheme. The two large print on the wall, ayan, yung dalawang print dyan sa wall, inspired this space. And this was made by Jennifer, or designed by Jennifer Talbot, an interior designer who is based in Chicago. Wow. Tama po kayo, aming po mga references na ginamit ay galing sa iba't ibang lugar, pero kung titingnan po natin, magagamit natin sa ating lugar, sa ating bayan, no? Kasi napakasimple lang naman. The two chairs, yan, malimit tayo may ganyan na mga chairs, no? With the second biggest pattern, anchor the nook with an underfoot saddle zigzag pattern. Yung kanyang rug dyan, tulad kanina kay Mami, may mga diamonds and everything, may color. Ito naman ay napakasimpleng one color lang na medyo zigzag ang kanyang design. The black and white color scheme is alive with the geometric prints used. Yan.
Actually, itong diniscuss mo, Mami, isa yan sa favorite ko.
Diba?
It's so formal. Hindi naman ako.
So, napaka-simple, no? Pero elegante.
Elegante. Pwede yan siya sa bahay. Ayan, Mami. At syempre, ito namang next design came from the Australian interior designers. Ayan. No? Si Ali. Ito
Bohemian.
Actually, mother and daughter design team to. Si Alida and Miller na taga-Australia. And actually, they call this interior design masterpiece nila as entitled Perfect Imperfections.
Yes.
So, ang ganda, no? Actually, Mami,
Perfections.
kung mapapansin nyo, no, may tema sila na nilagay dyan, which is called Bohemian. No? When we say Bohemian, these are actually yung sinasabi nilang unconventional. No? Yung parang hindi siya, kakaiba siya sa standard. No? Kung mapapansin mo, Mami, kanina dinidiscuss natin na dapat may geometric design. Ito hindi eh. Kung tema, okay?
Lively siya, lively.
Oo, kung meron kang tema, magbase ka doon sa tema na yan. Ang tema na to ay tungkol sa Bohemian. Which means that unconventional. Kakaiba siya. Kasi ganito daw po yan eh. Paano daw naging maganda, no? Itong ginawa ng ating Australian interior designer? Paano nag-work ang mga patterns ito? Kasi nga daw po, ito pong pale blue walls nila. Kung makita niyo po, ang kanila pong background ay napaka-pale. No? It's a pale blue walls. And para po mabuhay itong wall na to, nagkaroon sila ng isang tema which is Bohemian nga po. Okay? At kino-ordinate nila ang various textiles in vibrant colors na galing po, okay, inspired by Bohemian in the Far East. So makita niyo po parang may mga colors po sila or mga fabric or textile na may batik, no? May touch of Bohemian. At makikita po ninyo na coordinated naman ang color, diba? Kasi merong yellow, orange, at yung mga patterns nila, Mami, makikita mo na halos magkakahawig sila. Pero in different shapes. Halos magkakahawig sila. And I think it blends well because of the theme. No? Even furniture, yung mga small pieces of furniture, pang Bohemian talaga. Ito nga na-amaze na ako, Mami, dahil naglagay sila ng damit sa likod, no? Kita mo? Parang yung kimono na yan. Which is very unconventional kasi hindi mo to makikita kahit saang mga. Pero it's a lively expression.
Yeah. Very festive.
Yes. Festive, no? Ayan, so that's one.
Saya.
Ako, type ko rin siya. Masaya. And then, of course, Mami, ano ba ang pwede pa nating
Ayan. So, ito namang design na to, mapapansin niyo, parang small house siya. Kasi yung wall, tapos may window na agad, diba? So, ang ating namang sample 5 ay sticking to specific pattern style. And if you will notice, ang kanyang mga patterns dyan ay more on rectangle. Sa bintana at saka sa sofa, yung bed sofa nila yan, na pwede nila magamit yan na, kasi parang, ang tingin ko rito, kasi small house siya, pwede siya ng living area sa araw at sa gabi naman ay bedroom. Because of, kaya nasabi yun, because of the sofa bed. No? In this boho style of cohesion, style living room by Commune Design, based in Los Angeles, California, several Turkish kilim accent pillows with slight variation in color and pattern. Top of the Moroccan day bed. Yan. So, mas mga Turkish naman na mga items ang kanyang ginamit. In this design, squares and rectangles are prominent, as seen in the pictures. And you will see, as I have said earlier, small space siya. The space is maximized into a living area by day and a bedroom by night, as seen by the day beds. So, walang dahilan para hindi natin mapaganda ang kahit maliit na space sa bahay. It's just a matter of selecting the proper shapes, the proper size, and of course, yung purpose na ating mga accents or accessories sa bahay.
Yeah. Yan. Tama yun, Mami.
Oo. So, pansin niyo pati yung kanyang rug, naka-rectangle din siya. It's because of the space. Kaya ang binili niya, hindi square. Kasi para hindi naman babagay ang square na rug, na kanyang mga upuan ay naka-rectangle. So, dapat ang kanya ring rug sa baba ay pa-rectangle din. Para susunod siya sa flow ng bawat item sa loob ng bahay.
Para siyang nakakalaki, no, ng space.
Yes. Oo.
Nakaka-elongate, no?
Oo.
Wow, naku, Mami, no? Salamat talaga kay Teacher Daryl.
Yes, nakaka-inspire.
Matutunan din sa kanya. So,
Mami, pero sinabi niya na yung area na pag matangkad, para hindi ka malulula, gumamit ka ng mga horizontal lines. Pag maikli naman ang inyong space para tumangkad tingnan, gumamit ka ng vertical lines. Yun ang isa sa na gusto ko sinabi ni Teacher Daryl.
take away.
Kahit sa damit, Mami Fem, ganun din. Pag maliit ka, use vertical lines. Pag mataba ka, use vertical lines. Pag payat ka, use horizontal lines. Kaya ako, more on vertical lines ako para matatago sa aking katabaan.
Yes, oo.
Sige na, Mami Fem. Next natin, sino po?
Of course, next week ay usapang kalusugan naman po ang ating pag-aaralan.
Yes.
Kasi nakakalungkot na dumadami po ang kaso ng ating COVID-19 cases sa ngayon. At ito nga daw po ay because of the Delta variant and ito nga makabagong variant na Lambda variant. At ating kikilita, kumbaga pag-aaralan together with Dr. Warren, our resident physician ng Usapang Pantahanan, no? Despite of her busy schedule ay siya po ay nagkakawang gawa sa Usapang Pantahanan para mabigyan po tayo ng updated medical information with regards to COVID-19 variants. No? Tayo po ay mabigyan ng guidance kung ano ba ang dapat nating gawin in case na tayo po ay nagkaroon ng COVID sa mga panahon na yun. Kasi iba yung dati kasi may mga sila, simptomas. Ito daw, wala eh. Lang.
At paano natin itatakil o i-handle ang Delta at saka yung Lambda? Padami ng padami, sister?
Yes, oo. And unfortunately, some of my friends already think it's a very timely topic. It's all about this COVID-19 virus.
Delta.
Okay?
Yes.
So maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat, sa lahat po ng aming mga taga-subaybay. And of course, ulitin ko po to like, share, and subscribe. Ayan. So Mami Narlene, ano naman ang iyong parting words?
Maraming salamat po sa inyong patuloy na pagtangkilik sa Usapang Pantahanan at lahat po ng inyong greetings sa amin, sa aming first year anniversary ay nakakataba po ng puso. Maraming salamat na kami ni Mami Fem ay nakakatulong, nakakapagturo, nakakashare. So, para kung kayo naman po ay talagang maraming natutunan, please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if it's not asking too much, please include Lalin's project. Like, share, and subscribe also. Maraming salamat. Please keep safe. Mami Fem, keep safe. Ingat-ingat po. Huwag lalabas, kundi importante. And please, let us pray for one another.
Yan. Okay, ito po si Mami Fem.
Si Mami Narlene.
Dito naman.
Usapang
Pantahanan. Bye! Have a good weekend!